Hey, it's John here, and this is a very quick video I wanted to do just to show beginning players how to hold the guitar correctly. It may seem obvious if you've been playing for a while, but when people are just getting started, sometimes they're not really sure how they should be holding it. So I just wanted to cover a couple of main points. Basically, three main things I wanted to talk about. One of them is like the position of the guitar against your body, and then your right arm and hand and your left arm and hand. So first of all, the main thing I wanted to talk about the position of the guitar is there's a common thing that beginners do when they're first starting out, and they often do it because they want to see what their left hand is doing. You know, they might learn a new chord, and then they want to kind of see if they're putting their fingers in the right place. And so what they do is they wind up letting the guitar kind of slide out like this a little bit, or a lot sometimes, so that the guitar is kind of like this. And then this way they can see the fingerboard better, and they kind of lean over and do this. Okay, so this is something you want to avoid. You can see I'm kind of hunching over already, which is not a good idea. It's not good for your posture in general. Your neck and your back, if you play a lot like this, are not going to feel good. And also, it doesn't put your hand in a good position, or your arm. So what you want to do is take the bottom of the guitar and push it up against your body. I mean, it doesn't have to be like ridiculous, but pretty much up against your body. And so that's the first thing to keep in mind. It is going to be a little harder in the beginning. When you're learning your chords and where to place your fingers and stuff, you will have to kind of feel a little bit, and you can lean over to check it out, but then kind of come back to a more upright position. So that's the first thing. Another thing about the positioning of the guitar is just kind of make sure it's reasonably horizontal like this. Sometimes, depending on the guitar, or if you're playing a bass, this is often the case because the neck is longer. The headstock can sag a little bit, and if you're a smaller person, or just kind of depending on your body type, it might make you kind of stretch your arm a little more than you need to, and you wind up kind of playing like this without even really knowing it. And so you want to just kind of make sure that you're not reaching more than you need to. Okay, so that's the basic body positioning. The next thing I wanted to talk about is your right arm and your right hand. Basically, just kind of the forearm rests on the top of the guitar here. The exact angle is going to vary depending on how thick your guitar is. If you have a thinner guitar like an electric, your arm is probably going to be in a slightly different place. But in general, the angle is going to be about 45 degrees. And the thing you want to try and do is have this sort of straight line here, or reasonably straight, between your forearm and your wrist. You can see how my wrist is not kind of flexed like that, kind of uncomfortably. This can happen if you sort of hold the pick the wrong way, and in order to kind of line the pick up right with the strings, people wind up bending their wrist a little bit more than they need to, and that kind of introduces an unnecessary tension in your wrist. So you just kind of, if you take the pick out of your hand and just kind of put your hand like that on the guitar, that's kind of a good starting point. And then you can kind of pull your fingers together and put your pick between your fingers like that, between your index finger and your thumb. I have a separate lesson on the website about how to hold the pick. So that's the main thing with the right hand. Don't kind of come at it this way. Sometimes people do this like from the side. That's not really right. It should just sort of feel natural is the main thing. So when it comes to the left hand, there's a couple of main points I want to talk about. One of them is the position of the thumb. All right, so first of all, you want to have the thumb be behind the neck here. Try not to have your thumb reaching over and wrapping around the neck too much in the beginning. It's totally fine. You'll do it a lot when you play more, but when you're learning, you don't want to always be doing that because it can be kind of an easy place to just kind of hook your thumb, and then you wind up using it as an anchor, and then it can be hard when you try and play other types of chords where you really need to have your thumb back down here, like a bar chord, for example. It's you can pretty easily play a bar chord when your thumb is in the correct position. If you wrap your thumb up here, it's much harder to get all the notes to ring out because everything just kind of collapses. So watch how I slide this back, slide this down, and then everything kind of falls into place there. So try and focus on having your thumb, let me see if I can see that, sort of in this position. And also try not to have it running kind of parallel to the neck for the same reason. If I do that, you can see that my hand kind of collapses against the neck. So that's what you want to avoid. So that's the thumb. The other thing with the left hand is you want to generally play with the tips of your fingers. So, like the top part of the finger here, not so much the flat part of the finger here. Obviously, if you're playing a bar chord or something, well, you're going to play with the flat part of your finger for some of the notes. But other than that, in general, you usually want to play with the tip, because that will allow you to be more accurate with where you place your finger. And so you can play a note without getting in the way of the other string, for example. So that's pretty much it for the left hand. I mean, the left arm should sort of follow suit with what your left hand is doing. Just kind of make sure it's not hunching over too much, and just kind of have it in a natural position. I think that's all I wanted to mention about how to hold the guitar. So hopefully that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.